of theater owners that the organization is planning to work with the United States Congress on legislation to require American ISPs to block piracy-related websites. With all the other stuff that they have to work on, like the cost of insulin, I'm sure this is a top priority. And this might have a chance. The proposed legislation would allow copyright holders to petition a judge to block a given site. CEO Charles Rivkin claims that piracy steals hundreds of thousands of jobs from workers and tens of billions of dollars from their economy, including more than $1 billion in theatrical ticket sales in the United States. Both tech companies and internet advocacy groups have warned that this proposed framework is likely to lead to overblocking of lawful content, which is what wound up undermining the Stop Online Piracy Act, SOPA, over a decade ago. So our discussion question here is this going to work?
I honestly don't necessarily feel like it would work even if it does go through. They have to petition individual sites.
Here's the domain is unimportant. Here's the question though: what is this going to do that couldn't already be blocked with a VPN?
Already work around?
Yeah, exactly. What is this? Because already, if you download a copyrighted work, okay, look, I'm gonna come out and say it. We were doing some video on emulating something. It was more convenient for me to just download a Final Fantasy Tactics ISO than to rip it. So I did, and I didn't have my VPN on. Actually, this didn't work. And we got a notice. We got a notice from our internet service provider where the rights holder. I don't actually was it Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't remember. It was something that was.
Why does he do this?
From my point of view, not morally an issue.
Why does he do these things?
Because
I will never know.
It's not a moral issue to me to download.
Why do you do it on the work network?
Oh, I was lazy. I didn't have my VPN installed.
But don't do that.
Well, yeah, I know. Look, Luke. This was like years ago, okay? You weren't even working.
All right, no, I don't care.
Yeah, anyway, the point is,
like weeks ago. I was like, what are you talking about?
The point is, I don't personally consider it a problem to download a copy of a game that I don't care. I don't care. And from my point of view, you can tell me all day that I only own a license to use the game in its exact form and on the exact device. I actually don't care about any of that. So anyway, I own the game from my point of view, and I'll download it if I feel like it. But I got a notice from my ISP that the DMCA rights holders, blah blah blah, had notified them that they forwarded it. There's no actual punishment here. They can't actually do anything. They can't turn off your internet or anything like that. But they already know. What is this exactly going to do? How are you going to enforce this? Unless you basically do, back to our sort of our title for this. Unless you actually do create like an authoritarian internet censorship system,
Yeah.
like just blocking a website.
Tools for it.
Yeah. Well, here's a question for you. I mean, what are the odds that the American government basically already has it and is trying to actually, I don't know if that is. Never mind. I take it back.
I mean, they can see sites and they could make this type of stuff happen, but
it's slow.
Yes.
And it's not really very effective. And that's why
on a larger scale.
That's why instead of going after them one by one and trying to go after the companies that are providing them hosting, or trying to go after their domain registrar, that's why instead of trying to go after them in all these ways to get the site actually taken down, they're trying to simply block users' access to it. But my point with my story was that if you pirate content, you probably are already using a VPN anyway. What difference will this make unless they fundamentally change the way that internet access works in North America?
I mean, there's also stuff like, I don't know if you've gotten to this line yet, maybe you have. CEO Charles Rivkin claims that piracy steals, including $1 billion theatrical ticket sales. Like, no. And there's all these arguments, like, I find it pretty interesting, of companies on Steam. Steam has a very good and robust regional pricing tool, and companies are finding like they'll see a lot of piracy in a single area. They're wondering how to do that. You look at like language and discussion of the thing, and then they'll adjust the pricing in that area to be more reasonable. Like maybe your take home is significantly lower, your cost of living is significantly higher. You don't have the spending money to buy something in the equivalency of American dollars of whatever it's supposed to be. They make it cheaper. Piracy drops off like a rock. They were saying Brazil. Yeah, there's a lot of examples. Pirate Software has a video on him reducing the cost of his game in Brazil specifically. Piracy shot down, and his sales in that country went way up because it's not that necessarily people want to pirate in order to effectively steal something from a company. It's often that thing is not super attainable. Either you can't get it very easily, or it costs too much. And it's like, well, right now with 10 billion of streaming services, acquiring video content can be really annoying.
And to be clear, I also don't buy the argument that there's zero impact. I'm sorry, but there are people for whom they just aren't paying because if they don't have to, they'd rather not, but they could afford to. So as usual with any argument, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Is this stealing hundreds of thousands of jobs? Well, you know what? I don't know. Worldwide? Gee, man, that's a lot. Like how many how do you quantify that? Also, where's your hand wringing when you've got AI encroaching on the industry from every side?
Yes, let's please use that as much as possible. And like one of the issues I have with this is I'm assuming that there's some equivalency of the amount of time something was pirated, the amount of money that you lost, but it doesn't work that way. Like when I was a kid pirating games, I was not going to buy it. If you made piracy impossible, there just would have been no sale. I just would not have played that game. There was no
not everyone is like that though either.
I know, but
I pirated games I could afford to buy when I was young.
Would you have bought them if you couldn't have pirated it? I think in a lot of cases probably no.
I'm trying to think. It's been a very long time and I don't really remember. Here's something that I always found kind of interesting about my own habits was that if I pirated a game, I tended not to really play it very much. And I don't know what it is. Like we've talked about this on the show before, how like when we were kids, pretty much everyone that I knew had somewhere between 2 and I'm trying to think, like 5 or 6 games for the console.
Yeah.
Like we did not have. If I went to someone's house and they had like 10 or 20 Nintendo games, I was like, whoa, like damn.
There's some money here.
Yeah. And we played those games over and over and over and over and over again. And for me, piracy was like this. It became like it was almost like my first exposure to kind of one of the problems with gaming now is that there's so many options and such a finite amount of time that you can't possibly hope to enjoy them all. I don't think I can think of a game that I actually played for a substantial amount of time that I pirated and then never ultimately bought.
Yeah. So those aren't lost sales either. Like obviously there are going to be lost sales from piracy, but saying that you can try to quantify it is like what? I don't know. Where are you getting this $1 billion in theatrical ticket sales? Because I have a major doubt on that one.
I mean, it's not that much in the grand scheme of things. I mean, when a single movie will do $1 billion in ticket sales from time to time. I mean, it's not like they're saying, oh yeah, we're selling half as many tickets as we would have if piracy wasn't a thing or whatever else. I think that actually, if they were saying $1 billion more tickets, obviously we'd have to say strong doubt.
They're saying tens of billions of dollars from our economy, including more than $1 billion in ticket sales. The only reason why there's ticket sales is because it's the theater owners organization. But they're saying tens of billions of dollars from the economy. I just don't believe that. I have a really hard time without any sources cited believing tens of billions of dollars would show up in the American economy if they somehow deleted piracy. I don't see it happening.
I think the bigger issue for me is that we haven't really. Oh man, yeah, that's a tough one because at other points on the show we talk about how the media production industry is obviously in trouble right now.
Oh, it's in huge trouble.
But when you kind of dig down and try and figure out, okay, like what is the trouble? Where is it coming from? It seems to be from a lack of truly creative, innovative content, right?
It's
like
the normalization of everything.
When you look at what happened, I mean, it's funny because the examples I'm about to use of something that broke out of the doldrums that the movie industry is in are both huge IPs, right? Like the Super Mario movie and Barbie, right? But I think that showed that there's absolutely an appetite. The problem with this is that the problem with this whole argument, and man, I'm going to be in trouble for a hot take here. The problem with this argument that you've stolen hundreds of thousands of jobs from workers is that I don't think that right now there is a content volume problem when it comes to low quality garbage that people don't want to watch anyway. I think the content problem that we have is innovative, exciting content.
Yeah.
And no offense, but you are not hiring those hundreds of thousands of people in your hypothetical scenario where there is no piracy and you have way more.
It's fighting really hard to not hire them.
How many actual directors have financially successful, let's say more than 3 financially successful movies under their belt? And it's going to be, this is a number that's going to be in the dozens or hundreds, not the thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands. Obviously, there's more than a director that just works on a movie, but my point is just how small that tip of the iceberg of what we see at Hollywood is. The ones that break out, the ones that are super successful versus the ones that are just working on yet another reality TV show. Like, are you telling me that if you had more movie ticket sales, you would stop making just stupid random reality TV series and you take a home run swing at a movie? I don't know, man. I don't know if I buy it.
Yeah, the argument stinks, in my opinion. I'm not saying like rah piracy or anything. I just think a lot of the arguments around it are very sensationalized. I think I'm sure there's a financial impact to the industry. I think, in my opinion, the movie industry in general has always had a acquisition issue. Movies and TV shows, like, how do I get this thing? What temporary service do I have to subscribe to be able to watch it? I can't get a permanent copy at all anymore.
That's the biggest problem for me right now.
Like, there's so many issues with that.
I could not really understand what the point of piracy was during the golden days of Netflix.
Yeah, totally agree. I wish we talked on Land Show, but putting the hat in the closet because there's no reason right now. And now it's strongly coming back out.
Obviously, they don't have hard numbers on this, but I was reading a different article, not the one that was about this recently, that figured based on some number that someone pulled out of their butt somewhere that piracy was up about 12% year over year. And this is in America.
Not surprised at all.
It doesn't surprise me one bit. I am simply not going to subscribe to Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and Netflix and Hulu and Paramount Plus and whatever the HBO one is called now.
I was sitting here trying to think of what its name was.
I don't care. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because you don't have the thing.
Well, that's also because I don't want to until you start writing the books. But I just mean I don't think I've seen an HBO show since.
I was saying Crave and Max. HBO Max.
Yeah, Max. That's right.
Crave the one with Letterkenny.
Crave licenses HBO shows in Canada.
Yeah, Crave has Letterkenny, which is great. But then I don't want anything else on Crave, so it's just like I guess I'll subscribe and try to binge watch it really hard and then leave. I want to just buy it.
Syphilis says, "Lol, poor Linus, he's gonna die before that book is done." Is that a threat? Are you threatening me? I'm kidding. When am I not allowed to pretend to misunderstand things?
No. Okay. Well, I can buy the DVDs.
What's a DVD?
Letterkenny.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I want Blu-rays.
Whatever. Just use that feeling.
Is that good?
It's getting pretty good. No, I wouldn't say that you can go to 480p or from 480p and it'll be a great experience. If you've got at least a 720p source, it's looking pretty good. On a 1080p source, 4K is like, why bother?
Yeah.
One thing that's not there yet is the SDR to HDR up conversion. But I like seeing where NVIDIA's at with that today, right? Seeing where they started with upscaling in games and where they are now.
Oh yeah.
I think we're headed in. If give them a few more years, and if they ever finally release a new Shield Pro, so some more hardware, give them a few more years and some more hardware, and I am pretty stoked on where I think we're going to be with just being able to enjoy whatever copy of a piece of media you happen to own at whatever resolution and color space you want. Obviously, it would be better to have a human do it properly, and the definitive piece, or like the definitive version of that content is probably going to be that, but I think that AI upscaling and AI SDR to HDR conversion is going to be good enough for most people. With that said, a lot of the time, the newer grade is not necessarily better. People are apparently like super PO'd about Aliens' Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray release.
Oh.
Yeah, something. It's more like the film buff type stuff than what I think the average person would care about. But it's pretty common, not just to get like the Star Wars or ET effect where they digitally remove guns or who shot first or whatever else. Right? It's not all that kind of thing. Sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, they didn't go back to the original film, like they didn't restore it. They just took some other master and just kind of I don't know, applied an upscaling filter and then sharpened it and then resoftened it to make it kind of look like it's in high res. So I don't know exactly what happened with Aliens. Let's see if anyone is. Yeah, it looks like this is something that hasn't really made its way outside of r/Blu-ray or whatever the Blu-ray enthusiast subreddit is. I don't even remember anymore. But some people are definitely mad about it. Oh yeah, okay. Someone said the Matrix had some mastering issues where they got rid of the green and blue tints, and that's the kind of thing that can happen accidentally if someone's working on. I don't know if that's what happened in that case, but that's something that can happen accidentally if the people working on the remaster don't understand or remember the original intent for why it was graded in that particular way. And
I was spending some Googling trying to figure out how to get Shoresy and Letterkenny, which are the two shows from the same group that are highly related in the universe. And a lot of the responses are like, yeah, it's super annoying. You just have to like actively be subscribed to Crave, buy the junky DVDs, or insert what you consume. It's like, yeah, why? Why can't I just get a high quality version that I can watch whenever I want? I don't want to binge. They have like 8 seasons of Letterkenny, like multiple seasons of. No, I don't want to have a financial incentive to subscribe for 1 month and then just degen super hard and watch all of this in 1 month and then shut it off. Just let me own the copies in decent quality.
And I've been pretty firm that I'm not going to buy any copy of a movie or TV show that is reliant upon a service staying up. And we are already seeing that prediction of mine that anything that you buy from a web shop that is reliant upon accessing it through that web shop,
authorizing or anything like that,
you do not own.
Yeah, they'll take it down, they'll edit it,
they'll get acquired. It doesn't matter. So this is one of those things where, guys, to be clear, I mean, I think that you've heard my stance on piracy enough times. Does it have harms? Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question of that. Is it as easy to quantify as executives will make it sound when they're doing a little presentation to their little industry buddies? No. Are we telling you never do it or you're a bad person for doing it? No, we're not doing that either. We're just telling you, consider the impact. That's all I say. And also, good luck, MPA. You are going to have to fundamentally shift the North American, the Western philosophy of the internet in order to make this work, and I really just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. But you have to dust the hats off if you don't have one. You can get it into the store. I'm trying to have plausible deniability. I'm not telling you to do
Really?
Yeah.
And your way of doing that was...
Tell me, like, way to go.
Where did you even go? Where
I just closed it.
Oh, you closed it.
Yeah.
So your way was to tell them to buy a hat.
Yeah, because it was my plausible deniability that I wasn't saying pirate hat.
I see. Prove that's not a pirate hat. Modern pirates wear any hat they want. Also, I couldn't help noticing that it is water resistant, which is perfect when you are...
On the high seas.
On the high seas.
Oh, boy.
Should we rename it to pirate hat? Kind of tempted.
Just include, like, a trial for a VPN. Change nothing.
Okay. Hear me out. Do we take a VPN sponsorship again? If we're just like, here's the talking points. It's for piracy. That's the world's most honest VPN pitch.
I feel like the biggest issue with them is the talking points. So, like,
I mean, our talking points were always
fine.
clean.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of the negativity around VPN sponsorships was from creators who, and to be clear, I don't actually blame them. You cannot expect every random makeup or gaming or nature or history creator to completely understand the ins and outs of a technology product like a VPN. Should creators have a responsibility for the products that they promote? Yeah, yes. But I also think that the issues around VPNs are a little bit more complicated and nuanced than you can reasonably expect, your aunt who makes YouTube videos to fully grasp. And so, we push back on the VPN providers that we work with, especially as my knowledge grew about them, and we ensured that our talking points were aligned with what we believed was the usefulness of VPNs. But I think a lot of negativity around VPN sponsorship came from these people who were promoting them in ways that just were not true. Now, one of the challenges with that is that obviously they got those talking points from somewhere. So we would be working with a company, almost all of them do this, we would be working with a company that did actively promote their products in a deceptive way. So On the other hand, it's clearly an important part of your online privacy toolkit, which is the way that we have been positioning it most recently when we were working with PIA. So,
in my opinion, as long as your talking points are fine and clear, I think it's okay. A lot of people, when they talk about this, including some of the people in the chat right now, have been spamming links to a video. What was his name? It's a video from Tom Scott. This video is sponsored by Blank VPN. Tom Scott's more recent videos are sponsored by a VPN company. And what he was saying in this video is that the marketing and the talking points are misleading and bad. And he was totally right. But he eventually takes a sponsorship from a VPN company and just doesn't have misleading and bad talking points. So it's fine.
And it's funny because there was a lot of brigading against us after he launched that video. And I was kind of sitting here going, what?
We agree.
Yeah. What do you want?
That was a very frustrating time. That was a super frustrating time. Because his video was great.
Did he just explode again?
Yeah, it's a good point. Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah. And to be clear, like, this is mostly in response to the people trying to use it to say that there should never be any VPN sponsorships, no one should use VPN. It's like, well, hold on. You're swinging too far. The Tom Scott video didn't swing that far. You're swinging beyond where it was going.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I might just be open to working with them again. Like, look, full transparency with you guys, which always gets me in trouble, which is great. But for better or for worse, those of you who are the real ones, who understand that we're being transparent with you, and when we are transparent, it doesn't mean that we have that much more to hide, because that's the stuff he tells us. We're actually just telling you, like, real talk, how we do things here. VPN sponsorships are, if not the most financially impactful, they are among the most financially impactful out of everyone that we have ever worked with. There's a lot of money in VPNs to the point where we not only considered, but even went as far as prototyping our own VPN.
It worked. It was great. It was up. Multiple people were using it. Like, it's actually incredibly easy to do.
It's not still up, is it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. I had to think for a second, but yeah, I remember it being shut down. But I mean, you could literally turn it back on in like 10 minutes. Not to the degree that we had, because we actually had like distributors. It was really cool. Jonathan and AJ were like really motivated because it seemed like a fun thing to do, and they just smashed it. It was actually like great. It makes me sad because it was very well like thought out, implemented, done, future planned, all that sort of stuff. It was really, really well scoped in. Those guys did a great job with it, and we didn't want to go anywhere because we started talking to lawyers, and they posed some questions to us about, like, if you want your stance to be no disclosure, whatever, are you okay with these things happening on a service that you run? And we were like, no.
Basically, the question was, are you okay enabling pedos?
Yeah. And we were like, nah. I guess we won't make all of the money in the world.
It would have been all the money in the world, though.
We ran the math. It would have been
the world would have run out of money before we would have.
Yeah.
Especially with our audience and with the numbers that we know from working with VPN providers in the past.
It was
we know
huge.
we could push.
It was huge. Even if we retained, if I remember correctly, if we were able to capture, I think it was like 25% of what we had literally already captured, we would have just been months. Yep. And it's like, no.
So then, the question becomes, what's the difference? What is the difference between us making a VPN and making money, and us taking the money from companies that are profiting off of sheltering nerdy wells?
It is an interesting one, but I think that's the question that you pose to like almost anything.
Yeah, but what about, isn't it?
You just did. That's what this is.
No.
That's what the question is.
No, that's not what about, isn't it? I'm saying here's something really bad, and you're saying, well, what about other things that are bad? And I'm saying, no, answer the question.
Okay, I think it's still okay personally, because you're not telling people, hey, are you this thing that's really bad? Use this one. It's good. You're talking about actually in this situation specifically promoting it for piracy, which is which is questionable in its own right, and something we would not be able to do if it was our own service. Just to be super clear.
But what we could do is say VPNs are for piracy now, and then make our own VPN later, and never mention it again.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is the difference between profiting from it directly? And to be clear, I actually have an answer in mind. I'm not just trying to give you a hard time.
I think it's doing the action of knowing that you're covering the trace for a certain type of people.
So that's kind of what I was expecting you to say. And I guess the difference is that as the owner, right? Because there's no such thing as a completely untraceable connection. It is traced to somewhere, and then it is encrypted, right? So when you're using a VPN, it's a relay, right? So if there's some server hosting awful, unspeakable content, no, it's not a question of liability. There's VPNs that operate out of Canada. Clearly, it can be managed.
Yeah.
So if there's a server that has some unspeakable image or video or whatever it is on it, right? And there's a user who's accessing it. What the VPN does is it encrypts this leg, right? So if any traffic monitoring that is happening still shows that unspeakable content arriving at your node. So they will come and they will ask you, where did it go? And Luke Lafreniere, CTO or whatever C-suite like
would have to
ego title we give him, would have to say, I will not answer that question. I know who they are.
Well, no, or no logs.
Okay. But I could find out. I could do it.
And I will choose not to.
I could do something about it.
Dive in front of this person.
I will decide. I will decide to not do this, to do nothing about it, to stand idly by.
Yeah. I'm just like literally not willing to do that. Yeah. So if I'm not willing to do that, and we advertise this service
that people do use for that,
saying, hey, there's no logs, then we have to go against what we were saying, because I'm not going to say no to that, so we're going to have logs. And then it's like, wait, we said we're going to have logs. So we can't really run this thing.
Yeah. But if someone else runs it, we're okay with it.
People are going to use it no matter what. If they want to use it and support us, neat. And the vast majority of our audience is going to use it for finding
probably downloading movies.
We could promote kitchen knives. People could use them for making food. People could also use them for bad things. In the kitchen knife scenario, there's no logging to figure out who used your thing for bad stuff. It's not a perfect analogy.
No, it's really not.
But, like, I don't know. You can promote that people use something for good stuff.
Is piracy that?
Maybe some forms.
This is going to be the spiciest WAN show ever.
Yeah, I don't know why we're doing this necessarily, but
it's a good conversation. This is a good conversation. It's a good, I think so. I'm interested. Let us know. Is this a good conversation? Are you guys interested? No one's like, move on. Like, they tell us when they hate what we're talking
there's
about.
people talking about drastically unrelated things.
Yes, it's always like that. Yeah, people are like, this is great. This is how we do here. This is how we make decisions. The conversations we have on LAN show are really not that different from the conversations that we have off of LAN show.
Quite related, yeah.
Except that y'all are watching it. Yeah. You voyeuristic weirdos. Especially the ones that are here live. Do we acknowledge them?
VPN as well.
How do I do that? How do I show them? Win cam. Look at that. We got some winners in the house.
Look at the prime seat up front. Wow, that's a
Love this
glorious
setup.
position.
A while back, we ran a contest, draw, sweepstakes, I don't know what to call it, but basically,
It's very comfy.
people who bought the 3D down jacket, one in however many people who purchased it, were eligible for, and all, actually, I don't know if all expenses were paid, but definitely the travel, definitely the plane and hotel were paid to come to the headquarters, get a tour, and hang out. They're actually, like, I could almost spit on them, but I wouldn't because they're above me, and it would actually come back because gravity had hit me myself. So I could spit on myself and almost reach them. They're, like, right above us right now.
Nice.
Hope you guys are enjoying the land show. Dan, are we doing live Q&A with these guys? Live merch messages? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I believe they're going to come down here and we can hang out
Okay,
for a
well, why don't
bit.
we do another topic real quick, and then we'll bring on one of them for our merch message break after topic 2.
I think part of it too is for the service to exist like at all, it basically has to harbor bad stuff. So there isn't really getting around how it has to work. I'm just not willing to run it. But I've used them relatively extensively. I suggest that other people use them relatively extensively. So if I'm going to do so, can I not also recommend one to use? I think that's fine. But I'm not willing to run it myself.
So there you go. You know what? Colton, if you're watching this, get PIA on the phone.
Doors open.
Yeah. Let's,
It's fine. Like even when we stopped the sponsorship, I was kind of like,
I kept using it.
okay, yeah, exactly.
I haven't canceled it.
Like 80% of other creators that have like more sponsorships or whatever they are, you might just find it there.
And you know what's funny is that,
What's the difference?
as far as I can tell, and you know, this is the more just like cynical business side of me. As far as I can tell, stopping our VPN sponsorships has earned us exactly this much goodwill anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't see during any controversy, during any kind of kerfuffle, I haven't seen a single person that's gone, man, remember when
Really
VPN sponsorships were not cool and Minus Media Group didn't take them for literally years?
Yeah. And there's lots of other sponsors doing the same thing.
So I'm kind of sitting here going like, you know, whatever.
I'm not saying that to be very clear, just because someone's going to quote that and then try to throw me under 18 different bosses. I'm not saying that we shouldn't keep doing that. But especially if like we genuinely don't like, it's, yeah, we use VPNs, it's fine. This one seems fine, cool, and then we control the talking points. At this point, I think we're only doing it because people like asked us not to, which is like whatever. Man.
Yeah.
If we're going to stop a sponsorship with someone because the customer support is super bad, and we've had a lot of you know, our own user base report that as an issue, and we try to follow up on it, and we haven't seen any good improvements. Obviously, every company's going to have some customer support issues here or there, but like it's at unreasonable levels. Or we find that the product is not satisfactory enough for whatever reason, whatever else. Like, there's reasons why we cancel sponsorships. There's reasons why we don't do certain things. That's cool. We should keep doing that. But like, if this was a goodwill move, yeah, I don't think it mattered anyways.
No, I don't think it made any difference whatsoever. I don't think we'll go back to Tunnel Turbo.
Yeah, so there was a reason.
Yeah.
Like so, like, but yeah, he's still around. They seem fine. I haven't heard anything bad. I don't know.
They were acquired by Cape,
Okay.
and Cape has had a complicated history.
Okay.
I think is probably the most generous
I haven't
possible.
listened to this stuff in years. I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah, I think we should dip our toes back in.
I have no idea what Cape is up to these days. I have no idea what North's been up to lately. A lot of people in chat are saying I use PIA, I use PIA a lot, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but we've been with PIA for years as well, so probably a lot of them.
That might be why they still have a description.
Yeah. So, man, now I wish we had the. Yeah, Top Gear 1224 is like canceling exclusives wild after they paid for LTX. So that's a perfect example of how we don't earn goodwill when we do things the community calls for. We just get people mad at us when we don't do whatever they demand. And B, how the community does not understand how things work behind the scenes here. And whenever they draw conclusions based on their understanding, almost invariably the conclusion is wrong because their understanding is wrong. ASUS didn't pay for LTX. The attendees paid for LTX. Like the amount of speculation that ASUS had us under their thumb because of the sponsor.
Well, okay.
Like they're a major sponsor.
I might add some context there.
Yeah, sure.
The amount you guys charged is not in line with other conventions I've seen. For booths, for like sponsored, like title sponsors, or anything like that. The income coming from those things was like orders of magnitude lower than the numbers that I know from certain people that run other certain conventions. Like way lower. Even considering like differences in attendance rates and stuff like that. Sure, like and there's reasons for that because Linus was super, and I'm not against this. I'm pointing at it because it's your idea, but actually I liked it. But Linus was super militant about like if you have a booth, there has to be something cool there that you can do and all this stuff. The convention was really fun because you walk in all these conventions that are just like it's basically just a bunch of stores or a bunch of like info booths that are very interesting. So we want to be more interactive and cool. But doing that meant that a lot of these big players that go and spend big money at these shows were not really interested because they have a booth that they bring to shows all year. It does one thing. They don't want to make it do a special thing just for this one show. So we didn't capture a lot of that. But I think that's probably where some assumption comes from. Is often those title sponsors are like big money, really big money.
Well, that's fair enough. Top Gear says, whoa, I didn't say that. I was just saying canceling headline sponsor type of. I'm not meaning to call you out or anything. I'm just saying that people generally do not understand the dynamics at play here. And it wasn't you, but it was a lot of people. When ASUS was under fire for their handling of particularly some warranty issues, there were a lot of people saying, well, LTG is not going to say anything because there is no tech brand that we're not willing to speak out against. And there's a reason that major tech brands either don't work with us for years at a time. We didn't work with NVIDIA for over 2 years on a sponsor basis. They begrudgingly, especially at first, later on things were a lot smoother, but at first they begrudgingly seeded us cards for reviews just so that we could do our basic coverage. That was it. There are major tech brands that simply do not talk to us at all. We're not in this industry to make friends. Apple has my digits. I know they do because I've exchanged emails with a rep one time when they needed something from me. Every other time that I've reached out to them, they have explicitly ignored it. So consider who you're going after. If it's you know the corruption you're trying to root out, if it's the people who play the game. We've shown time and time and time again. We're willing to stand behind what we say. We're willing to stand behind what we believe. Where was the thing?
Two quick things on the convention topic. If you want to look into booth prices, something that's very interesting is Battlestate Games, people that run Tarkov, are incorporated in the UK or something instead of Russia, and that means all of their corporate documents and finances and stuff are public. You can look up how much they spend on booths. It will blow your freaking mind.
Really?
I'm talking like $500,000 a show sometimes.
Wow.
Like,
Okay, yeah, we're not getting that kind of
no. They're also on stuff like Gamescom.
Sure.
But like,
yeah,
huge money booths. Also, I'm going to Open Sauce. Come say hi. It's gonna be really fun. I'm doing a panel, and I'll be hanging out during the show. I realize I haven't told anyone.
All right. One more about to get us canceled topic.
Nice, let's go. You organize your belches? Is that the topic?
No, that's not going to get me canceled. They have OCD anyway. I've made a grid out of my gummy candies. So you can't really see it because it's my
They're perfectly. They're all in the same direction.
Like it says,
it's sort of
ADHD.
my color. Very great.
This is a good thing. All right. A small distraction over on Floatplane asks, is there ever an ethical gambling sponsorship? Adults can choose their vices? Like basically, the question is, if it's legal, why are we taking some kind of moral high ground here? It's something people enjoy. It's something that has made its way into mainstream acceptance, especially over the last 5 to 10 years. What's our problem? Why don't we just get the bag? I'm expanding on the question a little bit obviously here, but
I think my immediate jump to would go extreme levels of mental manipulation in order to ruin your life. And I think that's like genuinely the main goal of the entire thing. I don't think there's a positive to it, literally at all, ever. The only person I've ever seen that has had a healthy relationship with it was John Martin, actually. And the way that he would do it was, yeah, he would leave.
his name was John Martin. John Martin still exists. Still works here.
Yeah.
Still cool.
I meant because this
It's on
story
Christmas,
is
it's
old. Yeah, he's doing good. But he would leave any way of increasing the amount of funds on hand at home, go with a fixed amount of money, and he enjoyed the process. So to him, he was like, I'll bring as much as I would take to go see a movie. I'll get free food because they give you free food when you're there. I'll play some games for a money, or when I get a reasonable amount and feel like I'm happy, and then I'll go home. And then that is like, I am accepting an entertainment expense for the night, and there's no way for me to extend it. I respect that. That seems fine. The positives, the winnings. You'll get it, man.
No, that's not.
You don't win.
The house always wins.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, sorry, dude. And like, I appreciate your full Skywalker and stuff, but like, that's not you lose. That's how that works.
And you is not necessarily you personally.
Yeah.
You
You as the
personally might
win
have
that one time,
an
be up.
unprecedented streak of luck, but you collectively, definitely, mathematically lose.
Yeah.
And like,
And the problem with saying the upside is the winnings is you just wholeheartedly accepting the upside is the mental manipulation that is going to eventually rip all my money away.
and like I've talked about
You're taking the dopamine loop that they want you to take, which is bad.
I talked about this on my show before, but like a big moment for me was just walking around in Las Vegas for the first time. The bathrooms are so clean. Like you could eat off them. They're huge. The ceilings are 30 feet high and painted like the sky. Like it's like every inch of every brick that was laid with money taken from people who
They're
traveled
doing
there.
everything they possibly can to communicate to you that you will lose and hurry.
And this is how much you're going to give us. Not you personally necessarily, but
You're
you,
walking into the mouth of a demon.
you collectively are here to enrich us this much. And even if you win, guess what? We're going to fill this place with fine food and products that are also going to give you a dopamine hit and activities, which to be clear, I have no problem with activities. The point is,
Activities is fun.
we're going to fill this place with all this stuff so that even when you win, you're going to spend it. Easy come, easy go. You're going to spend it. Oh, guess what? On establishments within our buildings that we own that funnel that money back to us in the form of rent. The whole thing is designed where even if you walk out of Las Vegas up $200 after you spent, $100 of it on, let's say, a necklace or something, they're still going to keep some of your money there. So why don't we take gambling sponsorships? Because neither Luke nor I believe it has
I used to work at.
any reason to promote it.
Yeah.
We don't.
I worked at the bread factory, and there was, I'm not saying dudes there because there was only men there. I'm saying dudes there because I actually don't think any of the women had negative gambling problems. Only the guys did, so L men. But there was many times and many different people that people would come into work, and you'd hear them like begging for extra hours and try to figure out what's going on. And it turns out that they yet again gambled their rent away, and are worried about becoming homeless. They could have easily afforded their rent. They were doing fine. We made pretty good money at that point in time. I knew these people. I knew they were doing okay. They were living within means. Everything was okay, but they gambled away. They lost it, and then they'll, oh man, almost, lost every money. That was rough. And then a few months later, the same thing happens because you're being mentally manipulated. You're being controlled. Like just don't allow this to happen and don't feed into it. And yeah, I don't know.
I probably
so bad.
promote alcohol and cigarettes before I promote gambling. Speaking of vices, right? Like you were saying, let people pick their vices. They're adults, and that's fair enough. And you know what? Like to Luke's point, some people can have a healthy relationship.
I actually fully respect John's approach.
I have not met someone with a healthy relationship, and your brain's just about going to fall over your head. I have not met someone with a healthy relationship with smoking until I met with my badminton friends. She will light up one cigarette, like once a quarter, to be like, I like this. I like to enjoy it once in a while, and then we'll just not smoke for a month, 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, something's bad. But
It's not good for you, but it's not going to kill him. 4 cigarettes a year is not going to kill someone, Luke.
inhaling smoke is just bad.
Sure, but you'd probably be worse off sitting around the campfire all summer.
That's very true. that's why I hesitated a little bit. I was like, there's a lot worse things.
Let's be real here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as like chain smoking.
So
I don't know.
it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can have just
And
to be
there's
clear,
really weird arguments you can make about the upsides of nicotine, and things get really odd when you start going down that path. And there's much healthier ways to ingest nicotine if you're going for the positive effects it does have, even though it does have really addictive properties also. Like it gets really messy, but yeah.
So it's one of those things, to be clear, man, some people seem confused. We are not going to be promoting smoking or alcohol.
No.
That's not the point. The point is just that it kind of doesn't matter because these are things that, in general, are designed to entrap.
They're designed to be addictive. They're designed to, not necessarily they're designed to, but they hurt you.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we make a bit of an exception for like mobile games, for example. Our line is that it has to be fun without paying.
That's a pretty good line in my opinion. Because there are mobile games that are fun. There are mobile games that are free that are fun. I like Pokemon Go. I don't engage with it in a way that I feel like it is being predatory to me. I think it's fine.
I saw one comment a little while back, and unfortunately, I lost it. But it was a good one. Someone was basically like, yeah, gambling is fine if it's you and your buddies playing poker, and you know that if you lost, your buddy won. 100%.
That's a totally different thing.
I've got no problem with that. If there was gamblewithyourfriends.com, and their model was that they took like, let's say 1% off the top or something like that, because realistically, a lot of the odds are kind of like that anyway. But the house was never just like blackjack, right? Like the house was never just like taking all of someone's money. I honestly think I could maybe accept that.
What would you do? Would you just support poker? Is that correct?
Sure. Or just anything where you are betting with. Well, no, we can't enforce that it's with people's friends. We can't enforce that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it just becomes a poker website.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hypothetically, right? In a perfect, imaginary utopia, if there was gamblewithyourfriends.com, it was the online equivalent of just you're all busy and don't have time to gather around that stereotypical round table just off to the side of the kitchen.
I know that some people don't like playing things like poker when there is no stakes. In this case, the easiest one is probably financial, but some people do other things and that's fine. But they don't like playing when there is none because people just like go all in every hand and like not really take it very seriously. So you kind of want something on the line to play more seriously. That's all fine. You do that with your buddies in the comfort of your own home, whatever. Personally, I don't care at all. Go have fun. It's the more corporatized gambling that's the problem. I generally don't take bets of like almost any kind.
Lunch.
I'll do lunch. Yeah. But then that's like the result of this bet is we go hang out.
Yes.
Just like
Everybody wins.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally cool with those. But like, hey, I'll bet you $50 that this team is gonna beat this other team in insert sports game. Like I have no interest in that at all. I don't know. $20 buy-in, no rebuy. Yeah, see, like that seems decently healthy as long as everyone can afford it. You might not have a friend that can, so that gets a little weird.
Uncle Charlie MD, volunteer fire department. People hung around and played poker. If you lost $20, you went home. Nobody wanted Mad Wives. Nice.
See, that seems pretty good. That's probably okay.
Yeah, but there's no way to enforce that with an online service.
Totally, yeah,
so I don't see how we could get involved in that.
Yeah.
It's incredible how much money there is in it, though. Like absolutely wild. Hey, speaking of things that are incredible, how much money is in them? Thank you so much for supporting us, realtystore.com. We are going to do some merch messages, ladies and gentlefolk. The way merch messages work is all you gotta do is instead of just throwing money at your screen randomly like you normally would on YouTube or Twitch or whatever else, you can will not do that.
You remember that? What was that, Dennis?
Boom, pop. All right, want to hit us with some merch messages? Dan, do you want to do the in-person one first from the?
I was going to ask you if you want.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll bring on the winner cam while we do that.
Here, over here. I think they're yeah.
Cheap.
On my they had it.
They missed the mark. Update.
Yes. I put both.
There's so many cameras.
Oh my goodness, cameraception.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think this is Connor, right?
Yes.
Hey, Connor, and you got some question?
Perfect, thanks guys. What I wanted to ask was, whatever happened to Ice Giant cooling? Any updates on the next version of the Pro Siphon Elite? Now that traditional air coolers and all ones are so effective and cheap, did they miss the market opportunity?
And unfortunately, oh, am I muted? Oh, I don't think anything in particular has happened to them insofar as like, I don't think they've gone out of business or anything. The last time they showed up on my radar, someone on the forum messaged me or posted publicly, I can't remember, but I was paying attention to this discussion that was taking place, and they had an issue where they had lost their mounting hardware and they weren't able to mount it to their new upgraded computer, right? Because they were using one set and then they needed a new set. Ultimately, I think the resolution to that was that Ice Giant did get them a replacement mounting kit, so evidently they still exist. Luke is on their site right now.
Yeah, and they have a add to cart product page. They have listings on their product page for 3 different things. 2 of them are in stock, one's out of stock. It looks like a real site. It's running through Shopify.
So they're active there, but the challenge for their product is that the problem that it solves is not necessarily one that most people have. So they came along at what seemed like a really good time when Threadripper 5000 and subsequent generations of Threadripper were looking like we were going to have this need for coolers that were we're not just able to get the heat away from the CPU, but we're able to dissipate that heat to the air around them, because that's the advantage of the thermosiphon, right? Is that it does an incredible job of drawing a colossal amount of heat and distributing it to the fins so that it can dissipate it to the air, and it doesn't suffer from the same bottlenecks that heat pipes do. But the problem with that is that it's only really effective when you have a heat source that is outputting a ton of heat. And the thing about a lot of modern CPUs, now that AMD pays absolutely no attention to consumer Threadripper whatsoever, like we got these like super high-priced Threadripper and Threadripper Pro 7000 chips.
Yeah.
A year and a half into the Zen 4 lifecycle. Like, are you kidding me right now? If I'm an enthusiast, what did I wait that long to be on the latest architecture? Like, come on, are you kidding me? Right. So realistically, this is something professional users are using. The thermal challenges have been solved. The people who are actually running these things overclocked to the point where they really need to avoid overwhelming their heat pipes in order to get the heat away from the chips. Like, who are these people? And then on the Intel side, they're still using monolithic dies, right? They're still using, and when I say monolithic, I mean single. I don't mean that they're actually big, right? They're still using these single dies where the bottleneck is not how much heat can we dissipate to the air. Like an NHD15 is more than adequate to dissipate the 350 watts that you'll get out of a 14900K. The problem is that heat is coming from such a concentrated tiny area that you can't get it away from there fast enough. I mean, that's why you see Intel, actually, we didn't talk about this on Wencho. Intel is allowing system integrators to ship their CPUs delidded now. Select system integrators are shipping delidded top-tier Intel CPUs.
That's insane.
Yeah, that blows my freaking mind with warranty. Yeah.
That's wild.
I know, right?
That's not something I would have seen.
We're going back to the bear die, baby.
Ever, yeah.
Like, what year is it? 2003?
That's nuts.
I mean, Intel had IHSs even then. So my point is that I don't think Ice Giant has gone anywhere so much as Ice Giant's necessity of their product has gone somewhere. If we were getting regular updates for Threadripper at a reasonable price, and we had these large chips where the challenge is how do we get all the heat dissipated to the air, then I think there'd be a huge market for it. But as it is, on the Intel side, you got this tiny die, and the thermosiphon does nothing to help with that. And on the AMD side, there's no point overclocking their Ryzen non-Threadripper chips anyway. What are you going to do? Like get another 50 megahertz out of it? You can't even really push them beyond their power limit. Not really. I mean, obviously, if you're an extreme overclocker, you're modifying the board. Yeah, exactly.
Brought it to.
Not interested. Boom. Where's Luke muted? Got him. Yeah, I did. Did you give me a fake button, Dan?
No, I just am bad at my job. Oh, there it goes. Oh, I see. I accidentally picked the same one that chooses the
Dan,
wide cam.
how dare you?
that makes sense.
How dare you give me a fake Luke?
No, just push it until it turns red.
Sorry, Dan.
What is happening?
No, I'm just actually incompetent. Just push it until it turns red.
I appreciate you having that list. I got you.
All right. Good question. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I know they were talking about a copper version forever, and I was just curious. You never heard anything about it, and it just makes me wonder what kind of they're going to be doing in the future.
I mean, look, it's even when you have a really successful product, it's really tough to maintain the kind of revenues that you need to support R&D to build another product. Screwdriver,
If you're supporting any other people.
Screwdriver has been colossally successful for us. We've sold over 130,000 screwdrivers now. That's pretty easy math to do, you guys. You can do it at home on your calculatrice. But these days, I mean, we are down to moving compared to what we did at launch, right? We are now moving in a month what we might have done in an hour on launch day, right? Like it's not on the same scale, and you have to continue to evolve the product and innovate. You have to continue to support all the people who are out there owning the product already and who are contacting you a year later, hey, I'm having this issue, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of overhead involved in running a business, and so that's why you see the really successful companies like the Corsairs of the world go out. They're looking for a new vertical to attack pretty much every year, whether it's cases or power supplies or peripherals or streaming or whatever. Those guys are doing freaking everything now, and there's a reason for it. Because if you're not growing your product portfolio, it's actually really, really hard to sustain your business. There's only so much innovation that you can do on a cooler. You can make a copper one, sure, but I mean, I can tell you right now, based on what I know about the differences in the thermal characteristics of aluminum and copper, that copper cooler was going to be a degree or three better, and it was going to cost so much more that realistically, very few people were going to swing for the copper one.
Sick.
I know, right?
Would look really good.
I know. All right, Dan, you want to hit us with a digital merch message?
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Thank you so much. Let's have a look. Okay. Hey, a little. Got a new job as a USB test engineer, and I've almost convinced my supervisor to buy the $15,000 cable tester you guys reviewed. What are the coolest tests Lab has coming up, in your opinion?
I kind of wish we could ask some questions back.
I know, right?
We know who they are. Good email.
We're actually upgrading our cable tester, so that's going to be something.
Why are you using one?
Because you know that well, I think we're still going to be using the one we have, but we're going to need an upgraded one when we work on our cables because we want to validate them for data rates that our current cable tester is not capable of handling.
Makes sense. That's going to be a somewhat recurring expense, I guess.
I think probably the coolest thing, I don't know, everything's cool. It's working on some cool stuff. A really cool one I saw is this thermal test platform that has, I think it's either 6 or 9 sensor locations, and they created a custom PCB for the monitoring piece that outputs the logs of the temperature in the case in all these different spots, because we don't want to just review a GPU and show the GPU temps. We want to review a GPU and show the GPU temps and the temps in your VRMs and the temps on your all over your case, right? So we can try to quantify, okay, this cooler design, does it assist with exhausting the hot air out of the back of the case? Does it blow all the hot air up towards your CPU area?
Have you had any companies reach out and be like, this is scary? Why are you guys looking so closely?
Well, yeah, that's our job.
That's pretty funny. I haven't heard that person. That was a genuine question.
I mean, yeah, there's obviously going to be people that don't like it. Most of them are smart enough to not express any trepidation.
Yeah.
Because they don't know to dig.
Then you look further. Yeah, exactly.
All right, do you want to give me one more, Dan?
Yep, absolutely. Hi, Linus, Luke, and Dan. Wow, this is weird. They're doing it normally.
Who does that?
What's wrong with it? How is daily driving high RR OLED? Is it more efficient than IPS LCD? Also, ever tried Tiny OS 11? It's a stripped down Windows 11 OS. I use it a lot because it's no useless crap.
We've had looking at alternative stripped down OSs again on our list of things to do for a little while. I think that we're going to get to it. It's a matter of time. There can be some.
There's some issues.
Yeah, there's some issues with these. Some of them have kind of worked around the licensing issues with Microsoft. Others, it seems like, have not quite so much. There's also issues around trust. You know, what is this script doing exactly? I haven't personally gone and vetted every line of code. So if I haven't, it's my confidence level recommending it. And there are some that are
And then what if they update it? How do you do?
widely enough known that there's a level of trust there. But hey, it's trust and verify, right? So if I'm just trusting, then I'm not really verifying.
We ran into this issue before. We'll release a video about something, and then that thing will change, but it's significantly harder to change the video.
Yep, and we've also run into issues where even seemingly well-intentioned community efforts have evolved over time. Like it used to be that we would call out funny community domains. Like people would make like funny websites and stuff based on jokes we'd make about domain name ideas, and we'd go to them and we'd laugh at the things that they've done, and then we would find out that later they had altered it for like self-promotion or some other kind of thing. Like they hadn't in good faith continued the joke.
There was one in particular that went like really far to the point where it was super not okay. Impersonation, trying to get money out of people, tracking information, all this type of stuff. Like, it was really bad. So we try not to do that.
Yeah, so basically, like, this is why we can't have nice things, right? Yeah. As for daily driving high refresh rate OLED, I wouldn't say it's more efficient than IPS. I mean, OLED has its own power draw issues. In fact, you know what? I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't know. I actually don't think power consumption is part of our test suite for most monitors these days. Although we did check out a monitor recently that draws 6 watts, 31.5 inches, does up to 2200 nits peak brightness, and draws 6 watts. See if you can figure it out. I'll let him think for a second, and then I'll finish talking about high refresh rate OLED. It's super cool. It's amazing. I don't know for sure if it will be, if there will be zero burn-in forever. It looks, the indications are that QD OLED is pretty good these days, but
Yeah, I
we'll
did
see how
think
it
of
goes.
this before chat said it.
Okay, what is it?
It's not E-Ink, is it?
No.
Yeah, okay, I have no idea.
It's LCD.
I have no clue. Makes no sense.
You heard it here first. Luke has no clue. Luke has no clue.com.
Yeah. Oh. How would you do this? We just talked about
Because it's really funny.
But it's going to be a domain in like minutes.
I know. Don't go to it. There.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Oh.
Or how else will they know that Luke has no clue?
What do you figure out, Dan?
I know what monitor it is.
No, that's cheating.
That video's going to be incredible.
That's cheating, Dan.
No, I'm not saying nothing.
You
I'm
might
not
say
giving hints.
the video will be brilliant. Dazzling.
like
You might say that the video was a bright idea.
He's taunting.
Or the
I
monitor.
want you to all understand this. He's not saying things that will actually make me figure it out.
The video is,
He's just saying things to bother
the
me.
things I'm saying right now are a reflection of how I feel about the video.
That's cool.
Like, yeah, SNES
Wow.
era.
Quests, but the entire purpose of those is to try and sort